Welcome to the Orlando Sentinel's Politics Now. Today we will be taking a look at the presidential candidates and how they're organizing here in Central Florida and the changes that are being wrought by the congressional redistricting ordered by the Supreme Court. We'll wrap up with what's trending in social media, and Scott Maxwell will join us, columnist Scott Maxwell will join us to pick this week's winners and losers in politics. But first, let's get caught up on the week in politics headlines. Nevada, the caucus results are in, and Donald Trump is a winner again, more than doubling his two closest opponents, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. Former Jeb Bush supporters are starting to line up behind Marco Rubio, the other Florida native son. The ethics probe of Alan Grayson from Orlando has been extended as Democrats, members of his own party, are trying to get him to quit the U.S. Senate race. And finally, early voting starts Monday here in Central Florida, at least some parts of Central Florida, for the primary and several key races in the municipalities of Orange County. To gear up for the March 15th primary here in Florida, candidates are beginning to organize their efforts here locally. The first campaign office operating in Central Florida is a Hillary Clinton office. We visited and spoke to some of her supporters. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. We'll get back to that in just a bit. Joining me right now on the set is Sentinel Politics reporter Stephen Lemongello, who's been writing about this issue. So, Steve, we've got Hillary's office open. What else is going on?
Well, Hillary's is one of the larger offices. It has, hundreds of people came out for the opening last week. But the Bernie Sanders offices, not quite offices yet. They're more just little phone banks being held, here and there. One's behind a market co-op in Orlando, for example. They've been doing canvassing, just like Hillary has been doing. And there's actually a March for Bernie that's scheduled for this Saturday.
Now, what about the Republicans?
Now, the Republicans, Marco Rubio is right now focusing on the March 1st Super Tuesday, but once that happens, he should be holding town halls, throughout Florida. He should be opening several offices in Central Florida as well. Now, the other candidates, meanwhile, not so much focusing on Florida because of the winner-take-all primary, which means they won't pick up delegates even if they come in third or fourth or second. So the Cruz people will be, setting up offices starting in March. The Kasich people, not so much because Ohio, he's the governor of Ohio, their primary is the same day. And as for Donald Trump, well, his campaign really hasn't been too open with media about, what they're going to be doing, especially the ground game. So essentially, what they're going to be doing is, probably the usual thing that some of the other campaigns, but they're just not going to tell us about it too much. And they are going to have Central Floridians will be doing a march, some Trump people during the Pine Castle Parade this Saturday.
Okay, sounds good, Steve. I understand we have that video available now. Let's go to it.
Thank you for being here. It's work that's very important to get done. Not everybody wants to come out and make phone calls. It's not the easiest thing to do. I've made a few, and this is where it all happens. So when you see that March the 15th, when you see those numbers come in, just remember that a lot of those people are voting that day, are voting because you called them and got them to go to the polls.
Whether it's Hillary or Buddy Dyer, I'm a Democrat, have been for years.
Well, I've been with the Hillary campaign since 2007. Tonight we're doing phone banking.
We're working for 10 months. I mean, we're here. We're nonstop.
Yeah, we'll be here all day and all night.
You can't make enough phone calls. You can't put out enough signs. We have to constantly be working toward that goal. So it's very busy and gets busier. I mean, if we don't do this and somebody gets elected that we don't exactly agree with, it's our own fault.
Moving on, let's talk about the new congressional districts and how, under court order, they've already shaken up their first race. Just this week, U.S. Rep. Daniel Webster of Winter Garden announced that he would not be running in the District 10 district which he already represents. Instead, he's going to slide over to District 11. Well, why is that? Well, redistricting transformed 10, which used to be a largely Republican, suburban, and rural district, into something that is much more largely African American and Hispanic and located entirely within Orange County. Mr. Webster says he can't win in that district, so he's going to go to number 11, which is currently represented by retiring Republican Richard Nugent of Spring Hill. That move will pit Webster against Nugent's former chief of staff, Justin Grabel, who said he's going to be running also for the Republican nomination. In Webster's old district, former Orlando Police Chief Val Demings and Senator Geraldine Thompson, State Senator Geraldine Thompson, both of them Democrats, have already announced that they're going to run. There are several other congressional districts that are been transformed as well. U.S. Rep. Corinne Brown, for example, has a completely new district, and she's actually challenging the way it was redrawn in court. So now I have columnist Scott Maxwell and video blogger Kayla O'Brien, and we're going to talk about what's going on with social media and politics. What you got, Kayla?
Exactly. So we wanted to introduce you to some of the candidates because they all have social media platforms. They got Twitter, Instagram. They're blowing up their campaign to make sure social media is a big part. So I picked out some of the best tweets, Instagram posts, and Facebook posts of the week. So we have Ted Cruz here, and this is one of the graphics that he's posted with the hashtag CruzCrew. I think that's one of the better hashtags I've seen for these candidates. And as you can see, it looks a little bit similar to Obama's campaign with the hope, as we see. So he's kind of trying to appeal, from what it seems to me, to the younger audiences, to the social media savvy.
Looks like maybe he's looking off towards Texas, thinking maybe I can finally win a primary again. So yeah, it's very thoughtful.
Exactly. That's a good point. And we have Donald Trump. He's huge on social media. This is posted only 2 hours ago. We found this. It says, signing a recent tax return. Isn't this ridiculous? I mean, what do you have to say?
I think that's a lot of papers, probably almost as many papers as he had to put together for his bankruptcy filings.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Burn. Feeling the burn. That's coming up later.
Okay.
Well, that's a good one. I think that shows that he has a little bit of sense of humor, but that, you can't forget who you're talking to. All right, we got Marco Rubio. This is keeping to his Florida roots. This is a picture that was drawn by a 6-year-old from Sarasota, and he's saying, "Oh, thank you for the prayers," as it says, "my prayer for January 2017." I'm assuming that's Marco in front of the White House. Kind of cute. Looks like, one of those family-friendly photos, and it appeals to the Florida audience. We've got a lot of voters there. And then, let's see, last one on Twitter. This is John Kasich. He's actually holding a Twitter contest to win a ticket to the debate airfare hotel room in Houston. So you can enter to win. I don't know exactly how you enter. I guess give some money.
That's
$10
sort of hashtag, I know you won't donate unless I give you something.
Yeah, you can the chance to win a trip to see
He
him
might
in
just
person.
break even on that, actually, when you
that's
think
right.
about it.
Yeah,
It's about $400.
they're really going out of the box with their campaigns this year. In years past, we haven't seen as much social media presence except for the 2 big frontrunners. So let's take a look at Hillary Clinton. I like her hashtag a lot. It says, "I'm with her." That kind of just launched in the last couple weeks. That's her big claim to fame now. And so people are posting pictures of themselves with that hashtag supporting Hillary Clinton. And I think that'll do well for her. And then let's go to Facebook. This is Bernie Sanders. Oh no! Where did it go? Well, Bernie Sanders, I don't know if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Have it
There
caught
he
up.
is.
You see it? There. Okay, perfect. So he was at he was looking at the Woody Guthrie Center when he was in Oklahoma, and he apparently is a big fan. A lot of people are excited about this, that he went there. And so I think now a lot of people that love Bernie might go to this museum and check it out because he's been there and took a tour of it. So he's appealing to that younger generation as well. And our final on Instagram, this is Ben Carson playing pool. He's, kind of been falling in the races a little bit. We don't hear about him as much. He's not as social media friendly as some of his competitors, but this picture shows that he's down to earth. He's playing with a CBS reporter, so I thought that was kind of interesting for him.
He looks like he wins the coolest, although it does look like he's playing alone. But
yeah. He's breaking. You don't see what happens after here. And they didn't play a video of him making a shot, so it's probably because he didn't, but you don't know that.
Well, thank you, Kayla. Really appreciate it. That's
Thank you.
Really good stuff.
Good.
So it's time to talk about winners and losers in politics. There are very few categories in between. You either win or you lose. And the guy that can tell you all about this is our columnist extraordinaire, Scott Maxwell. Welcome, Scott.
All right, glad to be here. Well, I thought for our first week we would talk about 2 people who are pretty clear winners and one winner and one loser. In my estimation, the winner for this week is Florida's own junior Senator Marco Rubio. Jeb Bush dropped out of the race, and now he's got all kinds of power and momentum coming to him. And if you step back, this is absolutely unthinkable. 14 months, about 6 months ago, he was the least experienced. I mean, I don't think he ever found his way to the Senate restroom. He didn't do anything while he was there. He has very few accomplishments. And now the fate of the entire establishment side of the Republican Party is on his shoulder. There's been headlines that said Wall Street money's coming his way, Coke money is coming his way, former Jeb money is coming his way. He is poised to surge. So right now he looks like a winner. The hitch is going to be right here in Florida. We always have a lot to do with the election. Whether he can win Florida is probably going to be a big test for him. But right now he looks like a winner of the week.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And next?
Oh, yes, you have to have a loser if you're going to have a winner. Where this week for loser, it's Alan Grayson. He is the Democratic firebrand, outspoken guy who loves to dish it out, not so keen on taking it back in, but he's taking it back right now because he's been busted in sort of an ethical conundrum with a flap involving a hedge fund worth multi-millions of dollars based in the Cayman Islands at one point in time and looked like he was soliciting in part based on his name. It was named, after all, the Grayson Fund. I think he's going to have a tough time selling that it was named after something other than Grayson. Grayson Allen, Duke, I don't know. So he's got that going. And now the problem is the Ethics Committee, the Congress's Ethics Committee, has gone ahead and said that they're now investigating it. That's a problem. That's a big weight to wear around your neck right now. And Harry Reid, this is probably the most prominent Democrat in the Senate. As you know, that's the body Alan wants to get into. He's saying, get out. We don't want you in the race. Harry Reid actually said he doesn't even think that he's fit for Congress anymore. And then this week, I think he gave him another quote that says, you're not fit to be here. That's not what you want. Alan Grayson put an asterisk next to it, released an internal poll that said he's up 9 points. I sometimes think internal polls are like polling myself. I'm the greatest columnist on the set right now, according to my internals. But he says he's up 9 points. There's no doubt that this is not the kind of thing you want going into an election. So right now, I think Alan's pretty definitely a loser of the week.
That makes perfect sense to me, Scott.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you being
bet.
here. And that's going to wrap it for us today. Stay informed with all the political news at orlandosentinel.com. Thanks for joining us.